turnout. Coach, I think you made some friends in your 5 years here at Massachusetts.
I appreciate the support already.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Massachusetts Room here inside the Mullins Center. My name's Jay Burnham. I am the voice of Massachusetts athletics, sometimes the face as well. Appreciate you all for being here in person, taking time out of your day for what is a very special day here for our women's basketball program. And for those joining us on the ESPN Plus feed, hello, welcome in. I look forward to reading your tweets online later on, so thank you for being here with us. Here's how we're going to do this today. We've got a couple of speakers. We're going to have some words from Ryan Bamford, and then we'll hear from Coach Leflar, and then we will take questions from the media and have breakout sessions afterwards for our TV stations over here by the banner. I would like to acknowledge before we get going, guys, someone who does a lot of work behind the scenes for UMass women's basketball, the Deputy Athletic Director for Sport Administration, Kirsten Britton, is around here somewhere. She tries to hide for some reason. She does a lot of work for everybody here. So, Kirsten, thank you for all your hard work. We'll just get this started with Director of Athletics, Ryan Bamford. Bammer.
Jay, thank you. Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Certainly a testament to the start that Mike had here 5 years ago and the relationships he built. And you're going to hear me talk a little bit about the time that he's been here. But to have so many people from our department and our community here is a real testament to those relationships. I want to welcome you all. And I always start my remarks when we're announcing a new coach and holding a press conference just by thanking a number of people who have been so instrumental in our success, certainly in this program, in the department, and then getting to today and making sure that this press conference and the ways that we support Coach Leflar and the women in our program continues beyond today. And so I want to start by first thanking our facilities group for the setup today, always do an amazing job. Everything from the plants to getting us prepared visually to make sure this was a good day for our program. Our broadcast services, creative services, by virtue of this crowd, our marketing team, it looks like they just left off from the end of the women's basketball season when we had record crowds to get all of you here. We're hoping to continue that well into next year. I want to thank them, our communications and PR staff. So all of our external folks that really engage the public around a hire like this, around supporting this program, which has hit all-time highs. And so we're excited, and I want to thank those folks. I also want to thank two individuals who are very important to this program, to our athletics department. I'm hoping that this will be the last coaching announcement and press conference we'll have before our chancellor retires on June 30th. And I want to thank him in particular because especially in this women's basketball program, he's been really instrumental in the investment in trying to grow this program to make sure that we had a chance to win championships, give our women a great experience. And when we made a hire 7 years ago, and I see Heather Verdi here, Coach Verdi's wife. Welcome, Heather. When we made a hire 7 years ago, it was our chancellor who believed in the opportunity for this program to rise. And so I want to thank him for believing in that, investing in that, and making sure that we had the support and the resources to go out and do it. And then lastly, already has gotten a round of applause, but our deputy AD who oversees women's basketball, Kirsten Britton. Kirsten came to us 5 years ago, just before Coach Leflar. And really our program in women's basketball the last 5 years has really ascended in a way that we're all extremely proud of. And Kirsten has been embedded, has been a real operational force to make sure that Coach Verdi and the staff and the women in the program have all the things they need to be successful. So Kirsten, thank you on behalf of the department in this program. I mentioned Coach Leflar came just after Kirsten arrived, after the 2017-18 season. And really, over the last 5 years, you could say that this has been a job interview. I will tell you that I oftentimes have a chance to meet with candidates for coaching positions, assistant coaching positions, and staff positions when they come to campus. I had the good fortune of meeting with Mike. One of the things that really struck me about Mike Leflar was the 3 positions he had prior to coming to UMass. He was either hired in or promoted to associate head coaching roles, which tells you a lot about somebody's growth, about the opportunity that they had at their pre-existing institutions, and what they were able to do to be seen as a leader. And when I talked to 2 of the ADs at his previous institutions, they told me, you're getting a mature coach, you're getting somebody who's going to invest in the organization, you're going to get somebody who's going to be a good partner and help you build the program that you want to build. And 5 years later, all of those things are true. And it's why we're standing here today announcing Mike as our next head coach. When Mike got here 5 years ago, he and I met. We talked about his aspirations, as I'm often to do with our staff, is to say, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? And one of the things that struck me is Mike said, I'd love to be a head coach at a place like UMass. And I'd love to be able to lead my own program, and here are the things that I'm about. And then he went out and lived them every day. And we're extremely proud that he was able to do that in a way that got him set up perfectly for this opportunity. A relentless recruiter, really good connections in this region, not only New England, but in the greater New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, has yielded successful recruiting hauls at a number of the institutions he's been at. He's a developer of talent. There are women that have been in our organization that have gotten better, some that didn't have many scholarship offers when they were recruited, that have become all-league members in the Atlantic 10. That tells a lot about how he can develop and our staff can develop talent. Mike's also really organized. From an X&O standpoint, I will tell you, I've watched in particular the last 2 years, really as we've started to find our footing as a championship program. In this past year when we had a target on our back, I thought Mike really helped our coaches, helped Coach Verdi, make sure that we were doing things sort of as the hunted, to keep things fresh, to keep our women engaged, to make sure that we were set up for success strategically, which is really, really important. A hard worker, just a really great human being, leads with integrity, which is what you want overseeing your men's or women's basketball program, especially this day and age. Integrity, extremely important. He's about the right things. And one of the most important things here, especially that I have recognized, and I think by virtue of having a lot of our staff here, they've recognized, is his investment in relationships. Whether it be our women on the team, whether it be our staff, our support staff, other coaches going to games for other of our 20 sports, being invested in what we're doing as a department. I told Mike last week when we met on Tuesday, I said, Mike, I look at you in our program as the connective tissue. You're able to bring people together. You're able to find a collaborative spirit to really build consensus and help people find their way together, especially when we have adversity. I've watched that with Mike. And I think that's a great attribute to have as he steps into the head coaching opportunity. So I give you all those things to say we've hired somebody that fits who we are, what we want to be, what our vision, not only for this program is, but for this department. And Mike has, I told him on Saturday when we offered him the job, that you get what you earn. I think we've heard our hockey coach say that more than once. You get what you earn. And I think that Mike has certainly earned this opportunity. And the last thing I'll say before I introduce Coach Leflar to give you his remarks is that the future of our women's basketball program is extremely bright. We have seen this program go to new heights here in the last 3 years. Mike, when he got here his first year, we won 16 games. And then the pandemic shortened a season. And we finished out a season winning 20 games. The next year we got shortened to season 116, but we went to the championship game that year, and we were extremely proud of the group that went. Sort of limited in roster size, but had a ton of heart, got to the championship game. And then the next 2 years, won 26 and 27 games, winning a A-10 tournament title, winning the regular season title this year, all because of the contributions of our entire staff and obviously the women on our roster, but especially noteworthy of what Mike has done to help lead that group. And I say the future is bright because our investment in this program doesn't change. It actually gets ramped up to try to help Mike win and his staff and our players develop, get a great experience, continue to win championships. And I thank those community members that are here. I see so many that have joined the fan base, the legion of people who have started to recognize that we're playing pretty good basketball here in the Valley, and our women's basketball program is one that you want to support more into the future, now more hopefully into the future than ever before. And so with that, it is my distinct honor to recognize and to welcome, along with his wife, Kate, and Graham and Jackson, his two sons, who are well appointed. I think the shirt might start to get untucked now here. We're at about the witching hour for these guys. But ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our 12th head coach, Mike Leflar.
Today is an absolute dream come true, and I've shared that with Ryan. I shared that with Kirsten. And bear with me because there's going to be 20 years of thank yous and 20 years of emotion, a lot of which has trickled out in the first couple meetings I've had with our players. Just the amount of gratitude I feel is overwhelming. The people that helped me get here, I cannot say thank you enough. And the support, the text messages, the calls, have given me so much self-confidence moving forward. I do want to thank Ryan Bamford, our athletic director, and Deputy AD Kirsten Britton, and Chancellor Subaswamy for their confidence in me, their support in me throughout this process. There were uncertain times last week, but as I told our team, I felt very certain in my head and I felt very certain in my heart about what I want for this program, how I've helped this program, how we've gotten buy-in from our student athletes, and how we will do it all in the future. So I can't thank you enough. And Ryan is right when he said it. I do feel like the last 5 years have been an informal interview. And the conversations I've had with Ryan, the conversations I've had so often with Kirsten, who travels with us on the road, just about vision, about direction, about what I want for our student athletes, about what I would have wanted for my own program, have gone a long way for those two to get to know me personally and to get to know what I want. And I, again, appreciated their giving me the opportunity to formally sit down and map out my game plan and for their continued support. And I do feel the support, and I can't thank you enough. The band, the cheer, the dance team, you guys are always with us. And at the end of every year, I know we don't thank you enough. So for you to be here today and share this and make the moment more festive, I know my kids love you, but I do too. Our team does too. You're a part of who we are, and just thank you so much for being here. I had lunch with Jeff Smith, who's in the room, maybe a year or so ago, and we talked about how living in athletics or being a coach is a lifestyle. And to my family who's lived that lifestyle from an assistant coach's perspective or an associate head coach's perspective, and to now be so excited to live it from our perspective to lead a program. And Kate, we've had highs, we've had lows, but the strength of our relationship has made everything so much fun. And I'm so glad that we're going to live this dream together. And Jackson and Graham, for my kids to come to games and to run them out around the Mullen Center and to be really welcomed is a really special feeling. And that's what it's about for me. And we're not just going to talk about family in the recruiting process. We're going to be about family. And I want our players to understand that. I am UMass basketball. My family is UMass basketball. Every single player on our team moving forward, it's going to be about all of us being about UMass basketball. And I want us to understand that. To my in-laws who are here, Brian and Carol, I know you've watched more basketball than you could ever wanted. In the past, some of it was really bad basketball, and I'm so happy that in the more recent times, it's been a lot more enjoyable. But I know, Kate, so much is, we feel like coaches, we have a little bit of control. I know being the partner of a coach, you really feel like you have no control. And Carol and Brian, I know that you've been there to support Kate and support our relationship and support us, and I can't say thank you enough. And I'm so glad you were there Saturday to share the news, and I'm so glad you're here today. To my dad, who is here today, to my mom, who's watching from Cleveland, my sister and brother-in-law just had their second child about a week ago, and my mom's out there helping. So hello from Amherst. And my brother in San Diego and my soon-to-be sister-in-law, I know that they're watching too. Dad, Mom, especially, your support is immeasurable. When I graduated college, my first coaching job was as a volunteer assistant at the University of Pennsylvania. The Ivy League third assistant or entry-level assistant spot is and has always been and remains a volunteer job. And for me to graduate with a lot of student loans and to talk to my parents about deferring my student loans, deferring payment, and get into coaching and follow my dream and stock grocery shelves overnight to make a little bit of money, or bounce at a bar or be a bar back to make a little bit of money. If they ever questioned my intentions or questioned my goals, they never did it in front of me or to me. I'm sure they did it behind my back. So I appreciate their support, and I appreciate them reopening their house to me. And I was able to live at home for a year and make ends meet, and had a fantastic experience at the University of Penn that first year. But all of that, all of this, the entire journey, Dad, I'm so happy that I was able to share it with you. I'm so glad that you could see this day. To our players, as I told you Monday, and as Ryan mentioned, I am going to be a relationship builder as a coach. I've been that. And how we're going to build trust, how I'm going to hold you accountable, how we are going to handle our successes and our failures, we're going to do all of that together. I'm going to be consistent in your lives. And I've told you all, and I've told a lot of the players over the years, whether we win by 20 or lose by 20, when I come through the practice door the next day, I'm going to be the same person. And as your coach, I want to be in your life for as long as you'll have me. And I've told you all that. The relationships I built with players that I coached 15, 16, 18 years ago, it's all very real, and you're all going to feel it from me. And I appreciate you that are here today standing behind me and trusting me. And it's going to be a great ride. And to Sam and Destiny here today, and I know you're graduating and on your way out. As I told you last Thursday night when I called you both, as long as I'm here, This is your home. These doors will always be open for you. And when you come back, whether you come back next year, whether you come back 10 years from now, as long as I'm here, the players on our team, the players on our roster will know your story, will know who you are, will know your contributions before you walk through the door. And I want you to understand that and appreciate that. Legacy matters. And you've left great ones. To my staff, Lynn, Cassandra, Jess, Sarah, Simone, your support the last few days, your willingness to just put your head down and work and to say, what do you need, how we can help, that's a testament to your character. Everyone has a lot going on. And as I said, it was an uncertain week or week and a half. But we've stayed connected. And I'll always appreciate that. And that speaks volumes to who you are. And I know you'll carry that with you for your time here or when you go elsewhere. And thank you. And to my fellow coaches and really the entire department, yes, the people that put this on today, but all of you, your support, your calls, your text messages. I just want to make a promise. How I carry myself and how our team carries themselves around this campus is going to make you proud. When I first got here, a goal of mine after I sat in the position on the staff, I said, you know what, I want to go out and connect with other coaches. I want to go out and connect with the department, as Ryan had mentioned. And that's something I've done at other universities. And that's something I've done as an assistant coach, something I've done as an associate head coach, and something I will continue to do as a head coach. We are all in this together. No one person, no one team is bigger than the other. You will hear thank yous from me. You will hear thank yous from our team. And the support here, as Ryan showed and said and displayed, and what I felt is really off the charts. And that's a big piece. And that's a big part of how our program became successful. So I thank you for that support. I thank you for your past support. And you will definitely hear thank you from me for your continued support. And UMass basketball, there is great history and there is great tradition. And I'm happy to have been part of that the last 5 years, and I'm happy to be part of that moving forward and take more responsibility for that moving forward. And when I got a phone call 5 years ago from Torrey Verdi, he and I had no relationship previously, and I came out here, and I do want to thank him. I want to thank him because when I came out on the interview process, he said, hey, I need help. We're trying to build this thing. And when I accepted the job, he gave me full autonomy, and I could come in and say, this is where I see we need help. This is how I'm going to help. And he was a listener, and he let me do the work. And I always appreciate that, and I will always be a listener to my assistants. And Heather, I know I appreciate you being here today. And I know I said it to you in the hallway. I know you have a big task, packing up a house and moving your family, and I want to wish you all the best on that. I know it's not an easy job. And I just want to share a little bit about what UMass was to me, what UMass is to me, and what I'm hopeful UMass will be to me, to our players, to all of us. You know, growing up outside Philadelphia, the Atlantic 10 Conference was always on TV, and it was always very meaningful to me, and I always knew UMass had pride in their basketball program. And then as I started coaching, I got to know so many UMass alums, because for some reason, UMass women's basketball had a pipeline into Division I officiating. And Destiny, I know I've told you this many times, you should go be a Division I official. They make a lot of money. You should think about it. I know you want to keep playing, but there's more money in officiating. And you know, I got to know UMass driving down Mullins Way as an opponent and pulling up to the Mullins Center. And I did feel the support, and I felt like it was a big stage out there. And I always thought this was a great job. And people in the women's basketball world, some of them think it's a great job now because we've won. And as I told Ryan the other day, I've always thought it was a great job. It may have been a sleeping giant. And now that we've won, we're going to keep winning. And what UMass basketball to me now is when I did come to UMass, the support I thought that was there is there. The community support, the campus support, the financial support from our administration. The success we had on the court. We've won being the hardest working team. We've won being the most prepared team. And in the last 2 years, we've won being the most talented team. That's UMass basketball to me. We've won before. We've won in different ways. We're going to win again. And Ryan mentioned the player development piece. And believe me, in recruiting, if you haven't been in the John Francis Kennedy Champion Center, it's an impressive place. When we have recruits visit, that's the showstopper. And it gives us the ability to develop players. And I'm really proud that I took a lead role in our player development program here in my time here. So UMass to me is support from the outside. And it is player development. And it is winning. And we will continue to win. And what UMass, a little bit of what UMass is now is what I hope UMass will be. And the last 2 years, I've kind of taken a back seat, and a relationship has formed between our former all-time leading scorer, Sue Peters, and our current all-time leading scorer, Sam Breen. And Sam, I couldn't be more proud of you developing that relationship, and I talked to Sue Monday night. That's what it's about. It's about current players connecting with past players. It's about realizing that your time here is not just about Champs and Mullins Center and North Apartments. It's about the people before you. It's about the people around you. And Sam, that was on display. And that's what UMass basketball is going to be about moving forward. As I told our team, I'm going to invest in you. I want you to love your entire UMass experience, not just the basketball. I've been at places where you do both. You love being a student. You love being an athlete. You love the campus community. And you don't just leave here a winner on the court. You leave here with 50 new friends. And you leave here with 50 different people in your life that help you grow. And that's what we'll be about. And I know we'll be about it because I've been about it for 20 years. I'm going to keep being about it for as long as they'll have me. And I do want to touch on before UMass, and I'll be brief. I worked for 3 women in my time. Kelly Cole at Northeastern, Linda Simino at Binghamton. When I joined their staffs, I was always given great responsibility from the start, and I can't thank them enough for that. And I never felt like I was doing a task or doing a job for them. I felt like I was doing something for us, for the greater good. And with responsibility came ownership. And I learned that. And for my staff moving forward, expect responsibility because I want you to take ownership. I want you to take ownership in everything we do. And to the players here, expect it. I want you to take ownership, and I want you to feel it. And to my first boss, the only head coach I know who's here today, Kelly Greenberg. I spent 11 years on her staff learning from you, learning how to treat people, learning how to treat players, learning how to treat the community around you. You taught me to respect the game of basketball. You taught our teams to respect the game of basketball. And every program I've ever been a part of, since then, you've touched and you've been a part of. And I will always carry on the lessons you taught me. And UMass basketball will be about the things that we live through together. And I want you to know that. And I love you. To everyone here, I want you to feel this emotion too. I want us to feel it together. I want us to all be a part of this program. I want us all to be a part of winning and building or rebuilding. And I'm really excited about our future and our future together. I'm proud, I'm honored, I'm humbled, I'm grateful, and I'm excited for the next steps. And I want you all to be a part of it. And go UMass.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Man, I got to say, Bammer, this might come as a surprise to you, but when there's a coaching opening, it's just wild speculation within these walls, within our staff. You go online and you see Sam Breen saying, Leflar, let's go. And that's what we were all saying too, from a communication standpoint, because everybody that you've worked with, Mike, that has been here, from video, from information, from graphics, from Chris Tucci over here doing all the photos, you've touched their lives already. And you didn't have to. You didn't have to do what you've done to build these relationships, but man, we are so thankful that you are now the head coach of UMass women's basketball. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. All right. Questions? Dan Colleran over here has the wireless microphone. We'll take some questions from the folks in the media. Anybody? Can we go to seniority? Jacob Munch down front.
First.
WMUA.
Jacob Munch, WMUA Sports. Ryan, I'll start with you. What was the process like for you once you heard Coach Verdi was leaving Pitt, and how quickly did this come together from your perspective?
Came together quickly, I think, for all the reasons we recognize in this department about what Mike is, who he's about, what he's about, who he is. You know, Mike and I have talked. I didn't mention it, but I think, probably three or four or five times in the last 5 years about opportunities and about being a head coach and about his aspirations. And every time you have a conversation like that, you learn more about what, the DNA, coaching DNA. And we had a really good in-depth conversation just over a week ago, Kirsten, Mike, and I, and sat for a couple hours. And, when Coach Verdi let us know that he was going to be leaving, within 48 hours, we had an offer to Mike. I think that tells you where we wanted to be.
Coach, how you doing? It seems like, from a personnel standpoint, the women's team is going to look different from this past year to this next year. I guess I was just curious, what type of players will you be looking to bring to the program in your first year as head coach?
Good ones. We've been the most athletic team in the Atlantic 10 the past couple of years, and I think we want to recruit and continue to be that. I don't think that will change. And I go out and I want to see well-roundedness as well. I think knowing the game, and we have been really fortunate, during the recruiting process, you watch a player, but you don't really know how they pick up on things and if they can understand the game and play at the pace and understand the terminology, because a lot goes on behind the scenes in terms of schemes. And we've been really fortunate the last couple years, if we're communicating something, if we had communicated something with some of our players, they can make adjustments in the moment. There's not a lot of thought involved. It's very instinctual. Those are the tricky parts about recruiting, but I think in general we're looking for good, well-rounded players, and we want to remain and stay the most athletic team in the Atlantic 10.
Hannah Beavis, Daily Hampshire Gazette. Staying on that a little bit, you talked about players that you're looking to recruit, but for the players who were part of this program or are still part of this program, what have your conversations been with players who are still planning to stay at UMass, and even those who have entered the portal? They've said they're open to returning. So what have those conversations, if any, been like so far?
Yeah, and there's been conversations, and honestly, I spoke with the team, and I spoke with those individuals in the portal, and I came to a conclusion that, they know me, and I've been with them for a year, 2, 3 years, and I've been genuine. I've been authentic. Again, as I remarked, who I've been is who I'm going to be. And I talked with them, and I said, I think you really have to give some consideration that now that I'm the next leader, you're either 2 feet and all in on me, or UMass isn't going to be the place. And I asked them to really think about that. And I was really impressed by the group that is committed to staying, and that's where I'm going to focus my attention.
Kaylee Godek, A10 Talk. Coach, with the transfer portal being the way it is now, with the NIL deals and everything, how are you looking to attack the transfer portal and getting these transfers in?
Well, we're certainly in the transfer portal now and talking with players and setting up visits to fill some of our needs. NIL right now, it has grown exponentially on the men's side, and obviously it's transitioning over to the women's side. And we're going to think about those conversations. And I think the one thing that I really want to try and establish is, again, that our relationship, or my relationship with my players or people we're recruiting, and their relationship with this campus has to extend further than the Champion Center and the Mullins Center. And we want people to embrace everything here and to be invested here. And I think if we can create enough ties, then the decisions that players make don't just become about money or become about playing time. I think they see, if they want a coach in their life forever, they'll stick around.
Lulu Casson, Massachusetts Daily Collegian. You said in your opening remarks that you've always believed in and invested in women's college basketball, but it seems like statistics have showed this past tournament that viewership and just all eyes are on women's basketball as a whole. So how exciting is it for you to be in this head coach leadership position when pretty much the entire world is turning into women's college basketball in the new way?
Yeah, it's an unbelievably exciting time. And obviously the women's Final Four, the women's championship game, so much viewership, and even here on our campus. I mean, the attendance really, I'll say explosion for our team as we kept playing and as we kept winning. And I think our players did a great job connecting with the fan base too. Like Destiny, I know your hugs and your relationship with some of our fans, that stuff goes a long way. So I think, yes, women's basketball is growing, the viewership is growing. I think on our campus, in the Mullins Center, our attendance is growing, and we want to keep growing it.
Hey, Coach, in the back. Matt Stilly, Western Mass News. What did it mean to you to see the support from Coach Verdi and from Sam and from so many people inside the program on social media and letting the public know that they had your back?
It was very meaningful. And, my relationship with Sam extends way beyond social media, and she was in touch with me daily, as were a lot of other people and players. And the social media stuff is great. My conversations with players or people around the program, is meaningful. But the most meaningful conversations I had were with Ryan and with Kirsten. And for me to sit down formally with them and to lay out what I want this program to be about for the next forever, that was most important.
Josh Schreiber, WMUA Sports. 3 new recruits recruited to UMass as incoming freshmen months back. Have you been in talks with them? Is there still a plan for them to be a part of the team next year?
Yes, I've been in talks throughout, and absolutely they're 100% committed, and we couldn't be more excited about that.
Hannah Beavis, Daily Hampshire Gazette. I know that you were working with forwards a lot this year. Have you thought at all about what the coaching situation for you personally, is that a role that you're going to stay in, or as a head coach, do you take more of a big picture role?
Well, I think transitioning and seeing the big picture and being about the big picture is going to be the daily challenge, at least in the short term. I think talking with my staff already, I do want to be a little bit more hands-on with player development. But again, it's going to be about trusting the people we have on our staff. And I think regardless of any staff I've been on in the last 20 years, I think the communication's been pretty clear. Like we are going to create a game plan for each individual player, and we're going to execute that game plan and get their buy-in. And I don't think it will matter who's giving the message, whether it's me or someone on my staff.
All right, one more. Final question.
Jacob Munch, WMUA Sports. How do you plan to construct your staff, and what do you look for as people who can complement you on the coaching staff?
Well, I think I learned long ago, to some extent, you hire the person and teach the position. And I really am going to value relationship building and relationship builders. And I just want people that are going to be about the things I want to be about. And I do think I want people that are going to really connect with our players on a personal level. And I do want our players coming up in the offices, and we tell them all the time, even if it's 30 seconds, you come in, you pop in, you say hi, or it's 30 minutes and we're talking about life. I mean, I think I'm looking for coaches and a staff, and the staff and I have already talked about all that. I think that's the direction we're going in.
All right, sounds good. How about a round of applause for head coach Mike Leflar, director of athletics Ryan Bamford. Coach, we're going to get you over in front of the backdrop for some one-on-ones or some photo opportunities. Thank you all so much for being here today. We look forward to seeing you throughout the spring and into the summer, and thanks for those joining us on our ESPN Plus feed. All right.
Great job.